Yes guys, welcome down to Carter's Golf. Welcome to Jumeirah Golf Estates. We're on the second tee, we're on the championship tee, and today we're talking about launching that driver. A lot of golfers I see hit down on the ball. This video today is going to be figuring out how we can hit up on the ball, giving you a couple of fantastic drills that you can go to the driving range with, or you can even just do on the golf course when you do go out on the course to practice. Before we get stuck into the video though, please do hit that subscribe button. 65% of people that watch the videos are not subscribed to the channel, so please just scroll down a little bit, press that little subscribe button for me. We're out here, 50 degrees, giving you some golf knowledge. So let's crack straight on with the video. Many golfers come down to the Golf Academy wanting more distance, and to be fair, we all want more distance. Now, with distance, we generally think about swing speed, more swing speed, more distance, and that's absolutely correct. I think one of the things we try and work on first at the Golf Academy though is actually trying to optimize what you're already doing. If you are swinging at let's say if you're swinging at 100 miles per hour with the driver, we want to be hitting that driver out there around about 250, 260. Now, a lot of golfers might only hit it at 220, 230, so that doesn't mean they're necessarily swinging too slow. It means they're not fully optimizing what the speed they've already got. So we want to try to work on that. We want to try and make the swing better. We want to try and make the impact conditions better, and obviously therefore we're going to make the ball go further. Now, one of the things that we do in most of the clubs is we hit down on the ball. So 7-iron, pitching wedge, chipping, hybrid, to an extent we hit down onto the golf ball. We create backspin to create elevation, which obviously gives us the stop into greens and gives us height off the shots. Now, that's one thing we won't be doing with a driver. We don't want to hit down on the ball. A lot of common faults for golfers that hit down on the ball is the golfer will either sky the ball, so it's going to go straight up into the air. The old driver wedge, we don't like that. That goes about 100 yards straight up into the air. We often see the opposite of this, the really low shot to the left-hand side. So if a golfer comes in, hits down on the ball, they've fully de-lofted the club, and it goes very, very low and generally goes left when you do that as well. Also, if you're not quite optimizing it, you'll see the ball maybe go okay, it'll go a decent height, but you're kind of looking at it thinking it could go further. Golfers that hit down on the ball create more backspin. Like I said, that's what we do with the wedges and the irons. We want to hit down to create spin, to create height. With the driver, we're actually trying to do the opposite. We're trying to minimize the spin, okay? So we're trying to maximize the speed, minimize the spin, get the launch angle conditions correct so we can obviously optimize the driver. So one of the things we've got to do with the driver is actually hit up on the ball. Now, I see a lot of golfers try to they put the ball position further forward, and the first movement from the top of the backswing is the hips and the shoulders start to go. So when you get yourself into this position, swing path can obviously vary, but just purely talking about angle of attack, we're kind of hitting it either on a 0-degree angle where it goes straight across, or we're generally hitting it on a negative angle of attack. So we've got to make sure that the club comes into the ball and we hit it with a positive angle of attack. So the bottom of the swing remains in the middle, maybe where your 7-iron and your wedge would be, and we hit the ball more on the way up. So we're going to give you a couple of drills now to start with. One of the ones I like to do this with a lot of the guys I teach, is grab a coin or a ball marker. You're going to put it approximately in the middle of your stance. So we're going to set up, ball position forward, the head is going to be behind the ball, and the ball marker or the coin is going to be behind the club head. Okay, so as I swing up to the top of the backswing, we're going to try to make sure that our head stays on line with the ball marker or the coin. So then we feel like we're staying very much behind the ball. The golf swing is all about an arc, okay? The bottom of the swing's arc is going to be in the middle of the stance. As it gets to the ball, it's working its way up. So whether you've got an 8 or a 9 or a 10-degree driver, your general launch angle is going to be in and around 12, 13 or 14. So we're trying to actually add loft on the driver through impact. So we don't want to hit down, we want to stay back behind the ball. So this is always the hardest thing to try and understand. So when we take the setup, we're going to get the ball in line with the lead foot. The club head's going to be just behind the ball. And now my head relative to that club head is just behind the club head. So one of the key things we're going to try and see, as I swing back into the ball, my spine angle relative to the ball and my head relative to the ball is behind. The low point of my swing is right in the middle of my stance, okay? And that's kind of where it would be with every other club, as we mentioned before. So trying to make sure that as I turn back, my lower body is going to turn out to the target. My head's not really moving relative to where it started. Shoulders are rotating to the target, and my spine angle relative to the ball is behind the ball. So is my head. So I don't want you to ever try and feel like you have to lean back to hit the shot. The head movement relative to the setup position stays very consistent. It doesn't move towards the ball, and that's one of the key things. That's one thing we see very, very often. Also, what that can do is when I see a golfer kind of doing this, it generally starts to upset the swing path, because we start to see a lot of swing paths that work more around the outside. So we start to see swing paths going from out to in when we start to get that lateral movement with the upper body in the swing as well. So one of the key things here is making sure that we get the lower body still working, so that hip turn's going to be kind of rotating in and around that lead foot as we come through. The spine angle is going to be back, head's going to be back, hands are going to be working towards the lead leg as well. So now we're adding loft into the shot. So let's go ahead and give that a go. The marker's a great little kind of reminder for when you're playing, just to kind of keep the head back behind the ball, like that. Ripped it. Okay, so golfers are often going to be working forwards. We've got to be making sure the lower body's working forwards, but the head is staying back behind the ball. Angle of attack on your driver is absolutely paramount. Now, coming on to spin rates and whatnot, it's important to go and get fitted. So this driver's fitted for me. We're trying to get my spin within a certain parameter. Okay, golf swings are different. Whether you're in to out or out to in, you're going to create different spin rates. One of the key things we're going to try and do is go and get fitted. When you get fitted, one of the things they're going to try and do is make sure that the spin rates are generally consistent. If you are a golfer that hits down on the ball, they're going to fit you for a shaft that gives you a bit more spin to get the elevation, but you're not really going to be fully optimizing. So one of the key things, just keep working on making sure that the lower body works to the target. Weight distribution on this is a little bit different. So when your lower body is working to the target, I'd say weight distribution is always a bit more 50-50. We often talk in golf about transferring the weight towards the left side. Now, that would then indicate that the shoulders as well are going to work that way. But as we've already said, that's not what we want to try and do. We want the lower body to turn towards the target, club to bottom out in the swing arc in the middle of the stance, head to stay in the middle of the stance, spine angle to stay in the middle of the stance, and the club to work forward. So then the club, as it comes into the ball, also then starts to work up, and that is absolutely key for optimizing your driver, hitting up on the ball. One of the main questions that golfers ask me is, how do we hit up on the ball? There are very few golfers, even on the PGA Tour, that hit down on the ball. So you've got the likes of Brooks Koepka, who do hit down on the ball. He hits that kind of squeezy little fade shot off the tee. Now, he hits the ball a long way regardless. Doesn't necessarily lose him any distance. However, for the kind of amateur golfer, that's the swing path's not as consistent and the movements are not as consistent nor as fast, we want to try and optimize the spin rates as much as possible. So staying behind the ball is definitely going to help. Guys, go and give this a try at the driving range. If it's something you've already tried at the range and it's worked, drop me a comment below. If it's something you've tried after this video and it's worked, please do come back, let me know as well, because it's always kind of good to get the feedback. Optimizing your driver will give you more distance. Don't go searching for speed until you've optimized what you've already got. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do subscribe to the channel. Follow me on my social media platforms. We've got Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. And from a very warm Dubai, you can probably see the beads of sweat rolling down my face. Grey shirts just got darker. Time to go in. See you soon.